Hello, welcome to Hong Kong Direct. Big show this week for an even bigger Sunday at Sha Tin, featuring 3 Group 2s. And we've got some big names in town. All of Hong Kong's best horses will be there. James McDonald has joined us for the day. Blake Shin will rejoin us for the day as well. Hugh Bowman makes his first appearance as well. But of the 3 Group 2 races, there's one in particular where it's a 2-horse war at 60 versus Bengal.
California Spangle jogs it in the Celebration Cup. California Spangle's in front and he wins the feature as expected. California Spangle first.
He's still the fastest horse around, so, and he can dictate the race.
Golden 60 in a thrilling derby win. Golden 60, he's hit the front now. He's headed to Hong Kong's champion again.
Golden 60's been our champ for a few seasons now, and we're improving and we look forward to the battle.
It is 60 versus Bengal. It's not a big field this year in the mile, but it is a case where the reigning champion from the last 2 years, Golden 60, returns to the track. Waikuku, he's there as well. He races well second up. California Spangle, he's race fit. He's had 2 starts and he's won both of them. More than this has the cheek pieces going on. Excellent proposal. He's been frustrating. Could this be the race where he causes a huge upset? Turin Red Sun and King Shield, who we know better as a dirt horse, but he will add some speed to the 7 runners. Well, delighted to say the special guest on Hong Kong Direct this week is 5-time champion jockey in Zac Purton. Zac, thank you for joining us. And firstly, the big question, how are you feeling? You have had the COVID.
Yeah, so I'm one of the lucky ones. I feel good. I haven't felt any symptoms at all, apart from a slight temperature on Sunday night, which was normal by Monday morning. And then I've been really good ever since. So, that's a positive side of it. And then I've been testing negative the last few days as well. Hopefully I'll stay that way for Sunday, because more importantly, I need to pass the rat test Saturday and Sunday morning, and my PCR level has to be at a certain level as well. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. They say it can rebound a little bit, so I'm not in the clear yet.
Just as far as preparation goes for Sunday, how much has that been a hindrance to not be able to get out and about and do your personal training and your training away from home?
Yeah, so it's certainly a little bit different. I asked the club for a treadmill and a bike, so I've been getting up every morning and doing the treadmill, doing an hour on the treadmill and using that as my track work. And then later in the afternoon or the early evening, I'll get on the bike and do an hour on the bike as well. So that's where I'm at. It's not the same as everything I normally would be doing, and I didn't want to do too much in case I stressed my body out and then it brought the virus back on. So I've just tried to keep it as light as I can.
All right, we'll get on to the mile on Sunday. What a clash this is. You must be really looking forward to taking on Golden 60 again, knowing that California Spangle's got a few runs under his belt this time in too.
Yeah, I think that's the important part of it, right? Like, he's got the fitness edge. I think B+2 rail position suits horses that lead quite often as well, so that might be in our favour. And it's hard to line up where Golden 60 is, because that last trial on the dirt, obviously he looked after himself and he didn't extend himself, but it left more question marks than answers, although his last gallop on the turf looked really, really good. And I expect him to come to the races. Been pretty hard to beat, but I'm looking forward to going up against him again. My guy's done everything right this season. He was brilliant first up, and I felt he was a little bit below his best second up, although he was still able to win. He got to the front pretty easy. He relaxed beautifully, and I thought he should have won by 3 or 4 lengths. So I was a little bit disappointed in that performance, but I think because he performed so well first up, it took the edge off him second up, and he stepped up to the mile as well. He's had another barrier trial since, a little bit more time to get over that run to build his fitness up. We get the weight allowance. We got the fitness edge. So this is our moment. If we can't do it this week, then it's going to be even harder in December.
How concerned are you about King Shield being in the race? Because he is another pace angle, which you haven't had the first 2 runs back. He's not known as a turf horse, but he's known as a horse that you've ridden plenty of times and a speedy early customer as well.
Yeah, it's really disappointing to see him in the race, of course, from my perspective. He really can make it difficult for me. And as we know with Tony Cruz's horses, he loves them to lead, especially when they are noted leaders like my guy is. He thinks my horse is better in front and on the rail. So I'm going to have to push my guy. If he tries to take me on, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with him because that's what Tony wants. So, you know, it could pose a little bit of a problem, and that's probably going to be our biggest problem in the first half of the race, at least anyway. But yeah, it's, you know, it will be whatever it's going to be, right? So I've just got to go out there positively and hopefully they do the sensible thing and take the sit, which they have done before.
You've mentioned that California Spengle has been back to the trials. Has he come right on from that second run in that trial?
He just does everything right. Every time he trials or races, he stands really quietly, begins well, travels nicely. He's got a beautiful action, carries himself really well, and he did all those things again in his trial. So it was just a matter of ticking him over. Tony likes to have his horses out there doing something on a regular basis. So it was just a maintenance thing for him, and he pulled up really well.
Can you ever underestimate your old mate Waikuku? He was good enough to beat Golden 60 last season.
He was. I just think he was in the right form at the time. Obviously, I didn't get to ride him on International Day because I had the fall early in the day, but I went to Sizer's stable in the week after that, and I said how disappointed I was I couldn't ride him that day because I really felt like I was going to be able to beat him. He ran terrifically before that, and he gave me a lot of confidence. And on the International Day, Alexi took the ride. He was caught 3 wide, no cover, and obviously didn't win the race. But I got on him next start, and that's when I was able to bring Golden 60 undone and beat him. So I felt that performance was in him at the time, and he was able to do it. I don't know if he's in that same frame of form at the moment.
Zach, we'd love you to hang around and talk about a couple of the other feature races, if that's okay.
No problem.
We'll have more from Zach a little later in the show, of course. Zach, the pilot of California Spengle, the man he is trying to beat is the man that will ride Golden 60, and that is Vincent Ho.
Well, Vincent, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to us. And I think when it comes to the word mile here in Hong Kong, the definition below reads Golden 60. How does his jockey describe his summer break, and how happy are you with his return to action building up to the weekend?
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I'm quite pleased that this season, when I came back from Japan, I worked him. It felt nice, you know, it felt good. He wasn't heavy as, you know, like last season, early last season, it felt quite heavy. But this season, I think Mr. Loyan and his team did a really good job to keep him nice and fit. You know, he still had quite a time off, but he doesn't feel heavy at all. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
Vincent, whenever we see Golden 60's name down to trial, it gets the media sort of stirred up in a bit of a frenzy. He's had 2 trials leading up to his return. Now, they've been quite contrasting trials in respect. I mean, he's had a turf trial, he's had an all-weather trial. Just talk me through that first turf trial, because it was a little bit sort of out of the box for Golden 60 in some respects.
Yeah, of course, 1,000 is short for him, but he always loved the turf. It's more relaxed. He you know, he can use himself better on the turf, and on the straight, just sit behind, have some cover, and when I asked him, he have good kick. Of course, it's just his first trial, and slowly build him up. But for that trial, I'm happy with his performance already. He, you know, will slowly get there.
You were of the opinion during that all-weather trial and after the all-weather trial that he looked after himself. Tell me about his intelligence, because do you feel this year, coming into, you know, let's say the latter part of his career, I suppose, he is getting older, do you feel now he just sort of saves himself for race day a bit more?
when that day, like on the third trial, that was, wasn't ideal at all. It was quite, quite slippery, and he's a smart horse, so he wouldn't hurt himself or, by he knows it's in the morning work. He knows it's just a trial, and of course, ideally, I would like to have a good track and ask him a bit more.
12 months ago, he won this race, obviously going into what was a vintage victory in the Hong Kong International Mile. For you as his rider, does the pressure come off a little bit after the weekend's race, or is that just a constant throughout the course of the season with such a special horse?
It's a really special horse, and of course there's pressure, but it's a good pressure that you have a horse like this to ride. Of course, I enjoyed it more than anything. But no, it was a good race, but once the season starts, especially from October onwards, his big races start to come. Everything have to get more serious.
Well, Vincent, he is the hometown hero. He's returning to action on the weekend, and well, it's certainly something to look forward to for sure. Thanks for chatting to us, and we wish you and the horse all the very best this weekend.
Thank you so much. I hope Golden 60 will bring everyone joy again. So yeah.
Awesome to see him back, Golden 60 v California Spangle. We're going to break here on Hong Kong Direct. More Zac Purton after this, and also a profile on Romantic Warrior. You are watching a very special edition of Hong Kong Direct as we preview Jockey Club Race Day at Sha Tin on Sunday. It's time now to focus on the Cup race, and James McDonald is in town and takes the ride on Romantic Warrior. Blake Shin's back in town too. He'll ride his great mate Russian Emperor, Beauty Joy, and Zac Purton, Tourbillon Diamond for Alexi Bedell. Kaying Star got it wrong at the start last time. Senor Toba, he's gone 1,600, 1,800 up to 2,000 metres. And Money Catcher, last start winner of the Sa Ladies Purse. Hugh Bowman has his first ride on this stint in Hong Kong. But Romantic Warrior, it is terrific to see him back, and a special profile on him now with Nick Child.
Well, thanks, Mark. And yes, Romantic Warrior, one of the headline acts lining up this weekend in the Jockey Club Cup. Well, what do we know about him? Well, he's a very smart and progressive horse. He's actually gone up 70 points since making his debut at Happy Valley. And who would have thought he would have ended up in a race like this and having achieved what he has? He was only the 5th horse to do the Derby and QE2 Cup double. And he comes into this race fresh up this season into 2,000 metres for his first run. One man that's been the beneficiary of getting on board this horse is the international superstar James McDonald. This is what he had to say.
He looks an absolute pleasure to ride. He's taken it all before him here in Hong Kong. He's got a fantastic record. He's a real trier, and yeah, to get the opportunity to ride such a good horse here in Hong Kong is a real privilege. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and hopefully he runs well.
California Spangle, 2-horse go, Romantic Warrior, the Spangle lifts, the Warrior comes, Romantic Warrior takes the lead, and Romantic Warrior wins the Derby.
Well, since 2013, 12 4-year-olds have attempted to win this race, and 12 have failed. But what we do know about him is that he's very classy, and his only defeat has come in the 4-year-old Classic Cup, and every other race he has won, and he has won very impressively indeed. Originally he was the mount of Joe Moreira, but he got off him to ride Master Delight in the Classic Mile last season. Caris Teeton jumped on board, and poor Caris Teeton currently out due to injury. So James McDonald is the new rider that will come in for the mountain. Zac Purton has been keeping the saddle warm in his recent trials, for which he has won a couple. But he certainly is a class act, that's for sure. All what he's done so far suggests that he might take a little bit of stopping, this horse. He is a graduate of the ISG sale, and he's a great advertisement for it as well. So this weekend, Romantic Warrior, he's got a few stats against him. There's a bit he's got to do and a bit he's got to prove. But if any horse can, it's certainly this fellow.
Thanks, Nick. And as we saw in part one, our special guest is Zac Purton. And as Nick said during that piece there, Zac, you've been riding Romantic Warrior. What sort of feel has he given you at the trials?
Yeah, to be honest, the first time I galloped him, I sort of wasn't too impressed with him. He wanted to pull really hard. His action wasn't great. But then subsequent to that, I was able to gallop him again. I thought he improved a lot. So obviously we then went to the trial. I thought his first trial was good. I thought his second trial was even better. But he's a horse I haven't had a long association with. And I will say that his action does feel a little bit scratchy. So whether that's because of the slight injury he had at the early part of the season that he had to have a little bit more time off, or whether that's just him in general, I can't give any sort of shedding light on that. But I think he's going well. It's a big ask going to 2,000 metres for his first start here in Hong Kong, but it's a fairly shallow race. And he is our best mile and a quarter horse. He's got a lot of quality. I don't see the gate as a problem. I think he'll be positive. He'll go forward, he'll get a nice spot. And he's going to be hard to beat. It'll only be fitness that brings him undone.
Well, you're right, is Beauty Joy, a horse you know well. Did he settle much better last time than that first up run where he just wanted to really reef and tear?
Yeah, sure. He settled a lot better than what he did first up. He still, at a couple of occasions, just wanted to get his head up a little bit. But for him, he was pretty good. I was pretty happy with the way that he went. He's drawn a good gate. I was a bit disappointed he didn't win that last race. Even though Money Catch had the big turning the weights against us, I felt we were there to win it. And if he was as good as we want him to be, then he should have got the job done. And, his character, I think, showed through again there in the last 75 metres of the race. But he's drawn well this time. He's had the extra run. 2,000 for the first time is a little bit of a question mark. But he's just, hopefully he's in the right spot. I don't know where I'm going to be. Some days he jumps and leads. Other days he stands there and doesn't want to take part. And then sometimes he comes out normally and you can ride a bit of a race on him. So I'm hoping that he begins well. I can be in the first 3 or 4, 5 or 6, wherever, just as long as he's comfortable, and give him his chance. But he deserves to be in this race. And after this, we'll be able to know whether he's going to run in the mile or the 2,000 metres in December.
All right, that's Beauty Joy and the thoughts on the Cup race. You've got a ride in the sprint. The starters list for the sprint before we talk more about that. Zach Wellington, he dropped 7 pounds now. 12 of the 14 ran in the Premier Bowl, backing up for the BOCHK Private Banking Jockey Club sprint. Sky Field, Blake back on from barrier 13. Stronger gets the cheek pieces on again. Lucky Patch has the visor off, the blinkers back on with the tongue tie. Computer Patch a wide gate. Both Courier Wonder and Sight Success have been to the trials. Cordyceps 6, just fair on the Premier Bowl, and Lucky Swayness, who ran second behind Wellington last time, Zach. And he is the horse that you know well, Lucky Swayness, but again, no luck with the barriers. You've come up with 11.
Yeah, it seems a common theme for this guy, doesn't it? They're making it tough for him, but he's been up for the challenge every time. He'll be up for it again. He's going really well in the mornings. Obviously, I'll be positive, see how the race works out. If I lead, I lead. If something else goes faster, then obviously I just take a sit. But he's a versatile horse. His last run was really, really good. Wellington obviously beat us fair and square at the weights. He had a lovely run on our back. He was pretty impressive and pretty soft on the line, I thought. And his trial since has been really, really good. So I expect him to be really hard to beat again. But I just want to see my bloke run the same race as he did last time if we can't win. And then that'll give us some confidence going into December.
You must have been really proud, as you basically said there, from barrier number 11, a little tiny slow away, did that early work and still be there at the end, and only Wellington good enough to run past you.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, it's a characteristic of his gate speed, right? He's not a natural explosive horse out of the gates. He always takes 3 or 4 or 5 strides to start to build his momentum up to be able to go forward. So he's a difficult horse in that respect, because even when he does get the start right, he's always just on the back foot a little bit. So these bad barriers are really hurting his chances early, but he had to work hard to get across last time. First 200-300 metres, they kept digging up underneath him. And then that set up that near track record speed in the end. And he had to do all that work and was only run down by one horse late. So very good performance.
It was indeed. That's lucky sway. Now, Zac, on your own form, you must be very happy how the season's trucking along with the number of wins on the board.
Yeah, sure, things have been going good. I've been quietly happy with that, but I think I should be going a little bit better. Unfortunately, I've been dealt a lot of bad barriers so far this season, and you just got to work so hard from the gates in an environment that's as competitive as this, the way the handicapping system's set up. And, instead of winning, you've sort of come up a little bit short running second and third. And it's been a little bit frustrating. And, of course, I've been riding sort of 2 or 3 winners at most meetings. Had the 7 winners there a few weeks back. But I just feel if I can get the barriers to come together and get in the right spots in the races, I think I should be able to start riding 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 winners again at a meeting going forward, and just try and build that momentum. And that's what I'm looking for. I've had a good start, but I'm looking for something better.
All right, Zac, well, we really appreciate your time here on Hong Kong Direct. We know it's, even though you're isolated, it's a busy week for you, and we'll let you get back to annoying Nicole now.
No worries. Cheers.
There is our special guest, and a big thanks to Zac Purton for giving us the time ahead of Sunday. Looking at the diary now for Sunday and the week ahead, important to note, race 6 is the first of the Group 2s at 3:40 Hong Kong time. It is the sprint. The mile is at 4:10 Hong Kong time, and the Jockey Club Cup at 4:40. The main lead-up races for Longines HKIR coming up this Sunday. Next Wednesday at Happy Valley, back to 8 races, so on air from 6:45, and Sha Tin on Sunday the 27th. It is the Chevalier Cup, an earlier start there at 12:15, as it is on Sunday too, because we are taking a simulcast race. That has been Hong Kong Direct, but as we always do, we leave you with a classic replay, and with Zac Purton being our special guest, it is a goodbye with Exultant winning in 2019 the Cup.
Exultant now raced up and took over from Time Warp. Furore's giving chase, and then Rise High starting to wind up. Exultant 250 out. Furore, the Derby winner, making a real race of it. Exultant kept finding from Furore. Then Rise High, but Exultant, he's the cream for a reason. He's the top raider, he's the class, and he gets it done. Exultant from Furore.